Today is Friday, the 19th of September, and this is the regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors of the Port of the Islands Community Improvement District. And as is your custom, we'll begin today with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I'd like to make a motion that we allow Dan Truckee to appear over Zoom because of special circumstances. Second? I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 2 today, Mr. Chairman, is the approval of the agenda. I have one add-on, and I provided you with some supplemental materials. I'd like to add an item 6E. This will be a review of the bid opening that occurred earlier in the week for your raw water main.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion to change that?
You make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended. I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Item 3 today are public comments concerning matters that are not on the agenda. We have one, Ms. LaRue from Stella Maris. Good morning. Go right ahead. We just need you to, if you don't mind, stand on the red X there because our meetings are broadcast and transcribed.
Okay, so this is a question that my dad wanted to know. He is wondering if the gated trail back behind the water treatment plant is accessible for residents to walk on.
Apparently there is a trail or path that runs through the north end of the community that is behind or east of the utility plant. And she simply wants to know, is that a public trail and available to?
Well, it's usually locked. Go ahead, Deb.
I think I know the answer. It's part of Fakahatchee Strand,
Yep.
and it is available for the public to use, you know, not.
You gotta walk around the gate.
But you need to walk around the gate.
Yep.
Yes.
I called the state on it years ago, and they said as long as there's nothing motorized going back there, you can walk it. And no.
We ride bikes back there too,
Yeah.
because our wells are way back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? Is that it?
That's it for now. There will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting before we adjourn for any other public comment. You can reserve any other comments until that time. Item 4 today is the approval of the minutes from your regular meeting that occurred on August the 15th. They're behind the next tab there. We do have a couple of minor Scrivener's areas to note on page 3. The number of ERUs was incorrect. Page 6, line 1, there's a misspelled word. Page 7, it should be O&M transfer. Page 9 should be southeast commercial parcel. Page 11, line 10, it was pertaining to streetlights. And page 20, doesn't give me a line number, but it says 265 meters. And so with some minor corrections, we can entertain any other amendments. Zach, did you have any?
No. I make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Item 5 is a courtesy to our utility contractor to get them up and out of here and on their way to work. We'll have the monthly utility report for August. Morning, Matt.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. The operations of facilities throughout the month are in accordance with contract and regulatory requirements. All wastewater plant requirements are met and all water distribution requirements are met. Reuse pump system worked as intended. The canal pump station is unchanged. We received and treated 2.59 million gallons of wastewater in August, and we produced 3.21 million gallons of drinking water. We distributed 7.68 million gallons of reuse in August. We processed 36,000 gallons of sludge at the plant. We read all of the meters. That meter number is wrong. Sorry, I missed that. It should be like 768. We used 730 gallons of chlorine. We inspected all pump stations weekly. We performed motor control checks and greased all pumps and motors. We diagnosed a valve issue on the filter. We had that large water main leak that we fixed in August. That was on the end of Newport. We located some sewer laterals for new construction connection. We repaired a water service leak at 161 Cage Drive, and we repaired some chlorine leak at the water plant, or at the wastewater treatment plant. We had no accidents or incidents at the plant. Conducted all of our safety training.
That dewatering was really expensive on that, wasn't it? 28 grand on that water main break.
Yeah,
That was
No,
expensive.
it's hard to, man, like when we tried to do it before we dewatered, the hole just kept getting wider and caving in. It didn't matter how fast we dug.
Yeah. So do they shore it up then?
They stick a bunch of perforated PVC posts on the ground all around it, and they're all connected to a big diesel pump.
Okay.
And it just sucks all the water out of the ground. So the groundwater is continuously running towards it, but it doesn't make it to the holes. It's pulled through the perforated PVC. So it gives us a dry well to dig in.
Okay, just for the people that are here, because it looks like we've got a good crowd, is there anything inside the gates of the water treatment plant now that needs to be fixed?
The water treatment plant?
And the whole facility
The whole
there?
facility? No, I mean, there's always little.
But I mean, we've
things.
gotten the major stuff all taken care of, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so the only thing we have left then is to try to get that storage tank funded and built
correct.
that we're working on, and Dan can bring us up to speed on that, and getting start to replace water lines.
Correct.
So the
Okay.
only thing left is capital expenditures, right?
Yeah.
I would consider the water and sewer and irrigation lines attached to the bridge to be potentially a big item if we ended up replacing those.
And I think we should move, you asked me this morning, I think that we should, expect to get this done as quickly as soon as FEMA has a determination, we should fix this summer if we can, or this winter.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, the winter would be best. 'cause it's
Yeah, dry.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you guys gave us a good bid too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, we did a lot of legwork on that to make sure we covered all the ins and outs, the tie-ins and everything, so.
That would be nice. You know where everything is.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. There wouldn't be anything left undone that we would have to do later on if we were the ones to,
If I'm not mistaken, that was just over $1 million.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Matt, if I may, Matt, I would like to ask you if you were to get the bid, which we haven't released who we're going with yet, but if you were to get the bid, how soon, what would it take you for prep time and time to get started?
That's a Mitch question, but I'm sure that's a materials supply thing. So, I mean, as soon as we get the materials, I'm sure we can get it started. And if it's all HDPE, that stuff's pretty readily available. So,
Imagine you need new valves and whatnot.
yeah, valves would definitely be if there's any special size fittings that we need for like the tie-in, say the plant or the wells, that would be the only thing. But I mean, that stuff's still, 30, 60 day type
Okay.
supply, but it might be available. There might not be anything that would be required to be backward.
Dave, can you unlock that door and let those folks in?
But I can get with Mitch and give you an accurate answer to that question.
Okay. Well, thank you again. Have a good month.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Bar entrance. Go ahead.
With the manager's report today, item A, just to get it into the record, I think it was your June meeting, your June or July meeting, you had asked us to develop a sketch of what a community hall might look like. And I think the primary intent here would be to build a gathering place for the entire community and something that would not function as a hurricane shelter, but would function and survive a major hurricane as a point of community relief for any storms, in the future. So we engaged a local firm. He has given us a hand-drawn sketch. He's gone ahead and put this on a simple CAD drawing. I did not get that in time to attach it, but this was on the action item list. So just a couple of parameters. In addition to a fairly large gathering room and a catering kitchen, not a commercial kitchen, but a catering kitchen that's adjacent to that. Put a big storage facility in there, 2 restrooms, male and female, with a shower in each, and also a workout, a relatively small workout center, and then an outdoor under roof lanai. The intent here would be that the building would be 6 to 8 feet over existing grade and would have a very large generator and fuel supply of at least a week. So we're just kind of, I think the chairman uses the term spitballing this thing a little bit. I wanted you to know, and I wanted to get any initial feedback from the board. This is not a funded project. I think we all recognize that, but something that could potentially be in the long-term future of the community. I'm also going to put a copy of the sketch on the website, just because there has been a little bit of interest on the part of the residents here, and we'll do that in the recording. If there are no other questions, item B today, we have bound your coverage for your insurance program. You may recall that we changed carriers last year following Hurricane Ian. When we first got here, we determined that you were really grossly underinsured and with some less than capable underwriters in terms of AM Best ratings. So we actually participate in like a farmer's co-op. So we're part of it's called the Public Government Insurance Trust, similarly sized cities and towns and districts that use Brown and Brown to underwrite our public risk here. When we first engaged them last year, we were able to negotiate a 2-year fixed premium. So there's no increase in the premium this year. But there is a small increase for new capital assets that were added to the schedule.
Sure.
The big disc filters and I think the diesel generator were added to the schedule just to make sure that those new assets were insured too. So the total premium for the year across all lines that include now cyber liability. Total district-wide is $65,004, which is a 0 increase over the prior year, but about a little bit less than $2,000 increase in premium for those 2 new assets that I alluded to. I've already bound coverage. It goes into effect on October the 1st, but I just wanted you to know that we were able to get that renewed, and I think under really favorable terms.
Good. Thank you for doing that.
Item C today, and the reason I think that many people may be here is to consider and adopt the revised utility rate structure for the community. And this is for those of you who may be new to this issue. We've been working on this for a year and a half. The intent is to put the utility system more on a business platform. For many years, the utility system was heavily subsidized through your tax bill and the non-ad valorem assessment that we have. So the intent is to replace that mechanism and avoid the extra cost of the tax collector and the property appraiser to collect those fees. with a consumption and meter basis. So the board retained Florida's preeminent utility rate analysis firm out of Orlando, Raptalis. We've had 3 workshops over the course of the past year. We had a public hearing in order to take final action on the budget that occurred a month ago. There's a copy of the rate schedule in your book today. There was a very minor typo. There was a category for a 5/8 inch meter. We don't have any of those here, but it was part of your original rate structure. And so that very first meter size, the 5/8 inch meter, in the book it says 3/4. 3/4 is actually right below that. But
My papers all say 3/4.
then maybe she changed them all out of the book, but there was a little typo there.
Which I was a little odd because you got the first one at 3/4 of an inch and the second one at 3/4 of an inch with a little bit of difference in
First
funding.
one is 5/8,
Okay,
and it's not really.
but we don't have any.
But it's been on your schedule. The other thing I wanted to mention to you, following your last workshop in the presentation by the consultant, when it comes to irrigation water, if you look on the second page of your rate schedule here, historically, we've had a conservation tiered rate structure. More irrigation water that you use, the more that you pay for it per 1,000 gallons after it goes from one threshold to the next. The board asked, for purposes of today, that we consider just establishing a flat rate regardless of the amount used. And so because you directed me to do that, I've done it. I will tell you that has economic consequences to it because there won't really be an incentive for people to conserve. And so as a result of that, I think the annualized cost of that could approach $100,000. But I wanted you to know that we did what you asked us to do, at least for purposes of presenting that today.
Do you think we should relook at that?
I think for purposes, environmentally, it doesn't make sense to me. We need to conserve, the rest of the world is conserving, why would we not do the same thing?
So you want to go back to the stage?
I think we should go back to what we have now. Stay with the
Oh, this current rate?
current rate, yes. There should be,
There would be a new base rate because these rates have not been reflected. And so their suggestion would be that for the first 12,000 gallons, the rate would be $1.87 per 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then there would be no increase, but then it would go from $2.18 for 12 to 24,000 gallons, $2.90 up to 36,000 gallons, $3.64 up to 48,000 gallons, and anything over 48,000 gallons, which is an enormous amount of water for irrigation purposes, would then be $4.36, the way that it is shown in the schedule that's in the agenda.
So you're thinking if we go back to the tiered system, that might lower our base charge then, or raise it?
On the irrigation side,
Yeah.
the recommendation is that you need to raise your current base level
$1.87.
by like 42 cents.
Because we weren't
To about 87, you're below market, and I don't know that at that rate we were really recovering our costs.
Okay. Any
Well, let me-
questions on that, guys?
I have something. The reason we went away from that tiered schedule is because it treats different customers on the system different ways. So in single family housing, if you had the first tier was up to say 10,000 gallons or whatever it's at, that works, right? In a multifamily setting, you're going to have 100 units on one irrigation meter. And you're going to hit that 10,000 gallons in no time because of the area that you have to water. So I don't know that that was fair across the board. That's the reason we looked at changing that. So if we do it, we'd have to put everybody on the same gallon. If you put them all on the same gallonage rate, the multifamilies go deep into the increases just because of the number of units they're watering off one meter. So that's where the problem lies. That's the whole reason it went away. It was requested to take it away. If we can come up with a formula that works for, if you'd almost have to take the number of doors on that meter and say, okay, well, your threshold would be this much or whatever. But that was the difference in the amount of water and the charges that it results in multi-units on one meter.
So what you're saying is then you figure out how many units are being served and base the rate on that rather than one size fits all.
Yeah, you'd have to come up with something. I'm sure we could come up with a formula that would take into consideration, say 80 or 100 units or something on one meter irrigation meter. Because a lot of the irrigation for multifamily, they have 1 or 2 meters for the whole system.
So we need to do this today, don't we? Because don't we have water
Yeah,
ending?
the entire budget was predicated on these rates being effective October the 1st.
Right.
And as a result, there is a substantial decrease in the non-ad valorem assessment.
Right.
It's $1,100, so there'd be a $1,200 decrease on the tax bill for that assessment. The new base rates are intended to replace that on a dollar per dollar basis.
What would you suggest?
Well, I did what you told me.
I know, but tell me what you would do.
I would keep it the way it is for 1 year and engage a further analysis along the lines or the scope that Mr. Truckee has recommended so that we have a real factual basis to make that decision.
We actually could change it again too after a month or two if it doesn't look like it was in right.
Correct.
Right?
I think we could do that fairly quickly because, this time of year, the amount of irrigation is really down. We've had, I think, a wet summer. But going into the winter and fall months, I think we can come back and revisit it before people really start watering.
Kevin?
Yeah, I like leaving it like it is.
What, you mean the old way?
No, the new way.
With-
Same rate all the way through.
Okay.
Because illustrating Dan Truckey's point about the multifamily is not really fair to them because they're into that gallonage right away.
What do you think, Russ?
I have another issue that I want to get at once we get to it, but that's,
Please give us your opinion on this.
I think I'd go with the flat rate.
Okay, how about you?
I go with the current rate.
The adjustable rate?
Yes.
And Dan, you want to go with
Figure it out from there.
you want to go with the new flat rate, right?
That's fine for now. I know we have to work on it. The other question I had is just to make it clear to everyone. On the irrigation water supply, we will have a meter rate just like we do on the potable water, or we won't.
You won't. But the base includes the first 10,000 gallons, whether you use it or not.
Just like electric
For the-
bills are. That's just basically a maintenance fee,
Availability,
Yeah,
the fact that
yeah.
it's there and can be used.
right? So that people who aren't here and not using water are still going to help
They're going to
pay for
get
the
it for
system.
$1.87 is
Yeah.
what it amounts to, whether they use a drop or not.
Okay,
It
well,
sounds to me like the consensus then would be to leave it as proposed, which does not have that conservation factor, but that we ask or work with our engineer to reevaluate some alternatives and bring those to the board, I'd say sometime probably in the second quarter of the year this winter.
well, for my opinion, I'm looking at this and thinking if we leave this with the one flat rate, see where our bills come out after a couple of billing cycles, and then relook at it and see if we need to raise it up or go down with it. Would that be fair or not?
Well, I think you don't look at the cost as much as the usage. I mean, that's my issue.
Well-
There's nothing here to have anybody concerned. It's the same.
I don't know, from my standpoint, I like when we sell water. We make money. But I
We're
understand.
talking, but we're
It seems
talking
the
about irrigation
consensus,
water,
the consensus, the three members of the board want to leave it as proposed,
and then relook at
but
it.
then relook at it and potentially revise that during the course of the new year, once we get some real economic data.
How do you feel about that?
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate something here because I know we have a very large question about the irrigation water out there. Each irrigation meter will pay a base charge, and that base charge includes the 10,000 gallons. What's the base charge for the irrigation? The same as the potable?
Yes, it's $1.87.
And as far as that goes, the base rate on irrigation is based on number of units being served rather than the size of the meter, right?
That is correct. That was another thing that, thanks for reminding me, that came out of the workshop. The vast majority of the meters that are here are the 3/4 inch standard residential, single-family type meter. But we do have some 2 inch, and we have 1 or 2 4-inch meters. And when we had our workshop, there was an equivalency factor that was based off of like industry standards. And I'm just going to pick some numbers here and say that for a 2-inch meter, that's a big meter, but there can be up to 8 single-family ERUs that are assigned that.
Or even
There
more.
are a handful of areas, though, where it is more than that in this community. And the assumption is that the base rate is going to be factored on the actual number of units if it is higher than the industry standard. And
Well,
Mr.
that's
It's a big deal to Mr. Truckee, and these rates do reflect that.
okay, so that's potable water and irrigation are treated the exact same way then.
Number of units rather than meter size.
No, if
No.
I understand the question, on the irrigation side, it's strictly tied to consumption at a flat rate of $1.87 per thousand.
Okay.
Okay, all right, very good. That's what I had to know. I had to make sure we were clear on that because we have to answer some questions on that.
You're
So,
right. Do we-
Okay.
No,
we
this
need
is
to-
out of form. This is Steve Gunther. I sent an email to the board supervisors. Will you address that? Are you planning on addressing that?
Mr. Gunther, can you hang on a second? We're trying to have a board discussion here, but we'll recognize you in just a second. Any other questions from the board's perspective?
I got a question. This is master residential and commercial here, the bottom half, and it
Yeah.
says, proposed water rates and wastewater rates. So the first one I thought was residential, but that is not, that's not even available, because that's supposed to be 5/8, right?
Correct. And that's-
Right, so that's not even there, so I assumed that was
The first
the
tier.
first tier,
First tier.
okay?
I did too.
If you look at the next one as being the second tier, if I'm a residential, one family, one home, right? And it's bi-monthly, but the rate is 192.56 and the wastewater is 192.56.
Correct.
So basically every month. Every 2
months.
Yeah, I know that's 2 months, but that's 2 charges. But just look at one. Okay, so you're looking at 19,
$90 a month.
pardon?
$90 per month, or 192
Total.
2 months.
No, yeah, all right, whatever you want to do. But if you take $192.56 a month as a base rate for a house, right? Times 12 months, that's $2,100 base rate. That's what I'm paying base rate before I pay for any water. That's
No, you're-
substantially higher than we were before, even with the non-ad valorem.
Russ, are you kind of recommending that since we don't have 5/8 meters, that we start the base rate at a 3/4 meter, just move them all down one notch?
I don't have a
So you're-
problem.
Yeah, because then you're way over. that base rate's way over what we were paying non-ad valorem.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think that in this particular case, the first tier, and while historically you published 5/8, there aren't any. They're all 3/4. So that, I don't have a problem with that.
So the first tier's gonna go back to 128.
If the board tells me that.
I would agree to that.
Yeah, me too.
And then they would all step down based off of the, my suggestion would then, this is the way they're currently published and have always been published, but we should probably eliminate that 5/8 inch meter just so that it not confuse anymore.
I agree.
I mean, that's $70 a month, that's $700 a year difference.
Yeah.
So,
Any other questions from the board? And then, Mr. Chairman, do you want to recognize some people from the public?
Sure. Let's start with Steve Gunther. Steve,
Yeah,
So muted.
I sent you guys a email that has not been responded to, identifying an issue with the way that you guys are restructuring the way that people pay for the base rates of water. What you did is you said you're going to apply a base rate to all meters. In Orchid Cove, the association has a set of water meters that it pays for that has no non-ad valorem equivalent. And given the base rate, if you guys charge a base rate on that, that'll be $100,000 increase to the association annually. Clearly, this is
tell
not
us
what
how you
anybody
came up with
wants.
that number, Steve. Steve, tell us how you came up with that number of over 100,000.
I sent it to you in email, Steve.
I saw it, but I don't think it's correct. But go ahead.
Okay, if you take the table for irrigation water, we have 17, 18, I guess 18, I should probably get it up and read it to you, and if I can be, so I'm perfectly accurate, give me a moment.
You can come back to Steve. Is there anybody else?
I'm here, just give me a second. Really isn't that long.
doesn't make any sense. There's no.
Okay, let's see here. I apologize, I wasn't really prepared to do this. Got to go through a long email train to find the right thread. Here it is. Okay. So in Orchid Cove, we have 17-inch, 2-inch wastewater meters. Per your table, that's 1,027 per billing period. That would times 17 times 6 comes up to $104,000 a year. We also have 2 3/4-inch potable water meters. Those are 2 times 192.56 times 6. That's another $2,000. That comes out to be $107,000 and $67.78.
Right, but that's with a meter base charge on all your irrigation meters.
Well,
correct?
you said you were charging a base rate on every irrigation meter. You just said it a few minutes ago. So I think the right thing to do is you guys need to expand your analysis and realize that there are some meters that don't have a non-ad valorem basis towards those, and those meters should not have a base charge assigned to those. The reason I say that is because we've got 116 residents in Orchid Cove. They all pay their non-ad valorem today, and they will pay an equivalent amount with the new rate structure on their meters. But to put another $100,000 annually on them, I think is incorrect and not what anybody expected. So that would be my recommendation, because the reason that you guys have always given for moving this is not to increase rates, but to just shift the way that you pay, people pay, and Neil described it perfectly at the beginning of this section of the agenda, that changing the way so it's base rate, so it's like a lot of other municipalities. So this is it makes sense. I just think this is an oversight in your analysis when you first looked at it. I believe there's probably other communities that have meters that don't have an associated non-valorem tax, and I think you could probably just do that analysis and just not assign a base rate to that, and I think that would be a very acceptable solution to get past this problem.
There is no base rate for irrigation services. Where is it? It says right here, 0 to
You look on the
12,000.
table, look in the table in your thing, it says 2-inch meter.
Yeah, but that's not for
It's
irrigation.
not for irrigation, Steve.
There's no base rate for irrigation.
That's what I was getting at.
So it's only potable water?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, my misunderstanding. Unfortunately, no one corrected that to me when I sent it
Well,
to you
that's what,
earlier this week. So,
Steve,
then at least,
that's why I was asking for the clarification on the irrigation meters. Because it's a straight per gallon charge, on the irrigation meters.
okay, that takes off most of the charge, but there's still a $2,000 charge that would be additional for the 2 potable water meters where there's no ad valorem currently.
Why is there no ad valorem on those 2 meters?
Because
There
they're for
is.
our clubhouse, they're association paid.
So he's just incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every tax folio parcel in the community is currently paying a non-ad valorem assessment in support of the utility system.
I agree on residences, Neil, but not on clubhouses. I know we're unique about having a clubhouse.
Wow.
Well, you said residents. If there is a separate meter that is serving the clubhouse over there, is that a 2-inch?
There's 2 meters that service 2 3/4-inch lines that serve the clubhouse. One for the clubhouse water and one for our pool.
That'd be $128, not $1,900.
Right. The other thing about that,
No,
Steve,
it's the equivalent of what you'd be paying for a 3/4 line. So I think it's
you
over
have
$2,000
three
per year chart. I think I
Just for
did the math
clarification,
correctly.
the board has decided to move the rate table
Yes.
down one,
Right,
so,
so it'd be
so
$641.
for the pool and the clubhouse.
and as
Yeah.
long as we're talking about that, I remember being at the meeting when Orchid Cove came in and asked to have those meters put on the clubhouse and the pool. Do you remember why they had those meters put on?
There's always been meters on the clubhouse and the pool, Steve, since they were built. We paid a water bill since 2007 when it was built. I don't know what you're saying. There's
You're
no
wrong.
additional. Yeah.
You're wrong. I sat in the
Okay.
meeting when they agreed
I
to
was
put
on
in
the
the water.
board. I was on the board when they put the special meters on the water, so that you didn't have to pay wastewater rates for filling your pool like everybody else does.
And that's
We're
something
actually
I-
being charged wastewater rates for filling the pool right now. I
Okay.
talked to the municipality. So yeah, our pool water gets charged wastewater rates. They put the two together, the 2 meters together, and they're charging us wastewater, which is wrong. But the people at Muni Billing couldn't understand that. So that's
Why would
something,
that be wrong?
Yeah, why is
That
that?
you would pay the same as everybody else?
because a pool doesn't have wastewater associated with it.
Every pool in this community pays for wastewater on their pools. You're the only situation that would be not then.
Okay. Well, that's not how I understood it. I talked to Matt, and Matt was telling me that you shouldn't be paying wastewater on pool water because you
Well,
don't.
then
There's no
we're gonna have to put a
wastewater.
meter on every pool in the community.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that then. If it's fair treatment, I'm not asking for any special treatment here.
Well,
Okay,
I don't know how many meters we're gonna buy at $500 a piece and have them installed.
Yeah, we're not. Let's
Yeah.
hear other public comment. I need you to get picked up on the
Well,
microphone.
you guys haven't closed on this, right?
No.
I know the routine, Neil, thank you so much. I have a couple things. Sunset K Lakes has 1 meter.
Excuse me, guys, we haven't closed on this. You haven't given me an answer on what you're doing with the 2 potable water meetings.
You would,
What was the question? I forgot.
yeah, it's
Okay,
not
let me
that.
ask the question again. Let me ask the
You're-
question again, please. I'm trying to be respectful, but I don't like, just we're moving on. The question is that there's 2 meters that don't have a non-ad valorem equivalent. And so I'm not sure why this is actually extra revenue. I'm asking that the base rate on those meters be charged because we're not paying it today.
It's gonna be $128 a month base rate, and then that would be new, because there is.
It's over $2,000 a year.
Well, you said $100,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. You adjusted the table, so it's going to be less. No, the $100,000 came from my misunderstanding
let me
that
answer
you're
your question.
charging for 2-inch meters. So yes, so right, you're exactly right. That is my misunderstanding that wasn't corrected via email. So I apologize for that. That would have been a simple thing that would have made me feel a lot more comfortable the rest of this week. But yeah, if I guess, right, I used the 192 value because that's what was in the table. If we move it down to, what is it, 158, you said?
128.
128.
Sure.
Okay, that's a significant savings. So that cuts it by about a third. So then it'd go from $2,300 down to maybe $1,600 is what you're saying.
And that would be new, because clubhouses typically do not pay property taxes and they don't get a tax bill. But the other 700 plus customers who do get a tax bill are gonna see about a $1,400 decrease in their tax bill.
And it also was never the fact that we weren't gonna, our water wasn't gonna get to be more expensive, because it is, because we weren't covering our costs. So this is a twofold thing. We're putting in the base rates to level the playing field, but we also have to have a little bit more income, because everybody else has been raising the rates by 8% or whatever. And what did you say? When's the last time we had a rate increase?
6 years.
6 years ago. So that's all part of it. But
Okay, so what you're saying is, too bad, so sad. You guys are going to see a rate increase and you're going to have to pay for that. Okay, thank you.
For your swimming pool and your clubhouse, it would be new.
Understood.
Other questions?
Catherine Pellmeyer, Sunset K Lakes over on Newport Drive. Sunset K Lakes has 1 portfolio number for their common area, which includes the clubhouse and the, not a clubhouse, but the pool and 2 restrooms. Now, with all this going back and forth, budget season is here. Right now, we are only paying water and sewer rates at the, whatever the charge is. What do we have to look forward to for 2026 going forward? Are we going to be at least $128 every 2 months plus usage at the new rates? Yes?
Yeah.
No?
yes,
So it would be,
On both sides, water and wastewater. Rates would be
Yeah,
256.
256.
so our 2 little restrooms and a pool is going to be charged $300 every 2 months for water and sewer, because we have a portfolio number for common area.
just like everybody else.
That's wrong.
If
Okay,
you
and
take
then
the- If you take the, how many units you got,
we have 52 units.
so divide that by 52, how much is that?
It doesn't matter, it all
Yeah.
comes out of the master, it all comes out of the people's money. It doesn't matter. Right now, we're
It's about
paying
7
usage,
$7.
we're paying usage and you're upping it at least $300 every 2 months. So it's
You're not at
it's a
large,
big
coming down.
increase. Now, as far as the, and it's wrong, and as far as the irrigation water, you are penalizing people that stay within the first tier by charging them 28% more than they are paying now. And you are giving people a break that are using into the second tier. And I went ahead and figured 2 of our meters, and it's a true statement, by going to $1.87 for somebody that uses, if you want an exact figure, I'll give it to you. But you're shorting yourself by not being on the tiered level and charging everybody the same fee. Thank you.
That's why it'll be looked at again in January.
Any other public comment?
All right, let's move on.
We got one more.
Oh, sorry.
Kathy Oswald, Sunset K Lakes, 1500. Am I to understand that per unit, my condo unit, I'm going to be paying $356 every 2 months? Or am I stupid not reading this right?
Well,
128.38 for water rates and 128.38 for wastewater.
No.
And what's that number add up to?
So that's $256 every 2 months. Right now, I'm paying $17.
Yeah, what are you paying in non-ad valorem taxes?
$1,400.
Not near that.
No.
And on the 1,400, if it is 1,400, I'm getting 3 rates drops because of being a widow, because of being a bidder, and homestead,
It's a
okay?
$22 a
So-
month difference.
I mean,
$22 a month difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you're taking off all of the ad valorem, non-ad valorem.
It's already been done.
It's all taken off.
It's already been done.
Okay?
For
We'll see how that
utilities.
goes for utilities, Kathy, not on the $700 O&M side.
I know.
Okay.
That I figured out.
Yes, ma'am.
We're getting screwed.
Yolanda DiBartolo,
I'm sorry?
Yolanda DiBartolo, I'm the Camp Big Water the Islands Association / Resort Hotel. I'd like to know how their 8 commercial units, the one that you guys are sitting in today,
Can we keep it chattered on,
be
please?
affected? The 8 commercial.
It's on the size of the meter.
That go with the 8 commercial of the hotel resort
Yeah, so
association.
just for the water bill, I'm just going to assume that you have a 2-inch meter here at the hotel. So you're going to be paying $1,027 every 2 months for water, and you're going to pay $1,027 for wastewater every 2 months for a 2-inch meter. And then you're going to be charged $3.65 per 1,000 gallons for every gallon of water that runs through the meter. And that's a flat rate, but it's charged per 1,000.
Swimming pool,
Yes,
the upstairs, the showers.
yes.
Okay.
But you're going to see a substantial decrease in this year's property tax bill because the assessment that is levied for commercial and multifamily parcels is also the same way it's been this year. So your tax bill is going to come down. It's going to be an offsetting increase in your bi-monthly bill.
Okay, all right, I got that in my head. I'm gonna go right for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on.
All right.
If there's no,
well, just one thing I don't think everybody understands. I mean, if we weren't getting that grant money, Dan, how much grant money are we getting? Just
So
rough it
far,
up.
we've collected roughly about 225,000 in grants. We have 1.5 million that's teetering right now, and we still have the storage tank that's sitting on FEMA's desk for, I don't know, help me, Kevin, what was the storage tank? Do you remember?
Guys,
200 grand at least.
See, I just
we
want-
need to be able to hear.
I just don't know where everybody thinks the money's gonna come from if we don't. Everybody's gonna have to pay more in order to cover the basic maintenance of the plant, or you have no water. I just don't get it. You can get, like I said, it hasn't gone up in 6 years. So yeah, there's gonna be some pain initially. That's just the way it is. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, what was
Didn't call your
inflation? The inflation rate over the past 5 years has been, what, 20, 25%?
Not only that,
I
but
think nothing costs more. Jesus,
our rate engineer told us that we should be raising rates 8% a year for several years
Yeah.
because of the amount of money that we're not bringing in. We were undercharging all these years. We're making it right now. We're not gonna work on a deficit anymore.
That's all.
With that, unless there are any other questions on the part of the board, the staff recommendation would be to entertain a motion to adopt the rates as proposed by the analysis with the changes that were reflected earlier, and have the chairman sign the resolution.
Any more discussion by the board? Anyone want to make a motion? Come on, Kevin.
I make the motion that we adopt the new utility rate plan as discussed by Manager Neal.
With the caveat, we relook at the
Yes,
gray water.
The irrigation mid-year review.
And the tiers are dropped, one line.
Correct.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Item D today, and in your backup materials is a proposal to have your civil engineer do a hardening for the well field wellhead sites for the potable water system. As you know, historically, the heads of the wells and the pumps and the motors were at ground level and were all lost during the storm surge associated with Hurricane Ian. And so there is and again, these are grant eligible for FEMA mitigation grants. There is a proposal from your engineer to begin the task to design a lifted wellhead site for the wells that are in question there. It includes permitting and construction drawings. The total there is roughly $70,000, and then if bids are authorized, there would be an additional $24,500 during the construction for certification and pay requests, things of that nature. Mr. Truckee, did you want to add anything further on this?
Well, it's kind of tied in, that grant with FEMA is tied in with the water line. And we're working on that. We've had a lot of work on that in the last couple of weeks to bring the bids to FEMA of what it'll cost. We had the bids come in roughly, I'm just going to paraphrase those bids, 1.1 million was the lowest bid, and 2.2 million, I believe, was the highest bid to put the new water line in, and that includes running it from the wells all the way through the plant. And then on top of that, there's about a little over $400,000 to take care of hardening the wells, raise them up so they're above flood stage, and rewire everything back to the boxes out there. And all the boxes, electrical boxes, all get raised because at the flood with Hurricane Ian, they were in the water. So to harden all that, so the next flood that comes along doesn't shut down our system, we're raising all that. And that includes platforms, anything over, I believe it's 36 inches or so, might be 42 inches, can't remember. But anyway, anything over that has to have a ladder and a platform to it so that they can work on them. It's all done by code. So they'll be raising all the wellheads, and all the pumps will be submerged, all the electrical boxes raised, all new wiring between the electric that comes out to the well field, and the wellheads and things will all be replaced. And it'll all be about, I'm going to say, about 5 feet off the ground. When we put the new diesel generator in, we already raised that. That's about 5 feet to the bottom of the generator now. So we're just trying to make it much more durable in a flood situation like we had before. That flood with Hurricane Ian cost us a lot of money. We had to do some well work. We had to replace sections of the road that got washed out. There's a bunch of culverts that were replaced. A lot of that came back in grant monies. That's part of the $225,000 we collected in grant monies so far. And if the well pipe and the hardening of the wells goes through, that's about 1.5 or 6 million. And then a storage tank, a new storage tank on top of that will be another, I think it was like 800,000 for the storage tank. So we'll be well into the $3 million grant area, if all these monies come through.
Now, one other thing, should we, during a flood, sometimes we have to run fuel out there. And that's what's wrecking that road, is having to run the equipment out there. And I'm wondering if there's some way that we could bring a diesel tank out there when there's a perceived hurricane coming our way. I mean, could we put an extra piece of platform up there so that we could, run a couple 100-gallon trailer out there and have that there as emergency backup? I wish Mitch was here, but he's not. But that's something I'd like to look at, because having a brand new generator and stuff out there, if it runs out of fuel, doesn't really do us a whole lot of good after that.
Well, there are some
Just a
things we're
thought.
doing. I totally agree with you. If we had a hurricane that in the few days before the hurricane, we see it's coming right our way, we could run some more fuel out there in some type of tank. But there's some things we've done. We've gravelled several of the washouts. Because of the damage to the road, it created a lot of damage to our water pipe. That's what got this whole thing started, right? And now that if we direct bore that new pipe, the new well pipe in, it'll be in much deeper and won't be affected even if you run trucks out there, because it'll be deep enough that it won't bother it. But so
Will it
there's a lot
still
of
be
different.
underneath the middle of the road?
Yes,
We're gonna be
it'll
off
be
the
much.
side of the road.
It'll be much deeper. It's going to be down around 8 feet. Right now, we're currently at 2.5 to 4 feet deep. With our well pipe. So they're right under the culverts right now, the existing well pipe. The new pipe will be 8 to 10 feet down. So it'll be much more resilient to any traffic that we run out on the road. And we did gravel and put some large rock in on those washouts, so it won't wash out as quick the next time. So there's a lot of things happening to make that more secure come
And what
flood
got
and
us
hurricane.
what got us last time is that our generator cracked out. But we put a brand new one in there now, so hopefully that won't happen again, and we won't have to run those heavy trucks back out there.
Yeah, if our new generator is about 5 feet to the generator, they're up about 2.5 feet or so, and I think that tank is 3 or 4 feet tall, the fuel tank that the generator sits on, and those are made to be able to be in the water, the fuel tank part of it. So the generator sits on top of that, so it's pretty high, much better position than we were with our original diesel generator out there, so.
And then the other thing we have to look at is after we replace that, we have to continue with replacing pipes all the way over to the hotel, right? Under the bridge, the whole works.
Yeah, the bridge would be probably the first one that really has to get replaced, because there's some rust and things going on that pipe, and to have them sandblast that and fix it, and we'd probably be better off to spend the extra money and put a new pipe across the bridge. So we're looking at that.
We're gonna end up paying for that, right?
We do not have that pipe in any of the grants at this time.
So is there any reason that we shouldn't look at getting RFPs to replace that now? I mean, it needs to be done, why not get going?
We can be. I think the engineers right now are putting together the rest of the hardening for the well field, and then when they're finished with that, they could start on. We're keeping them pretty busy right now. Just remember that there's a lot of engineering fees that go with that. If the grant money comes through, a lot of that engineering fee is refundable. It won't be on the water pipe across the bridge, but on the things that we're doing right now, built into those grants, they have an engineering amount that you can recover.
Very good.
Each one of you received a separate packet, and there is a bid path summary. And I just simply would want you to know that these were publicly bid and advertised. 4 firms requested bid packages. There was a pre-bid on-site conference that was arranged by your engineer so that the prospective bidders were familiar with the conditions. For people in the community who don't normally come to our meeting, the source of your water is about a mile northeast of the utility plant, in the middle of the Appalachian Street.
2 miles, Neil.
Up to 2 miles. And so your
2
source of
miles.
water is in the middle of the state lands and has been since the inception of the community. And so that's what we're talking about here today. So we had a very competitive bid environment. Only 2 firms actually bid the project. The lowest and most responsive bid was Florida Utility Systems at $1,079,493.98. The second bid was $2,246,532. So the staff recommendation of your engineer is to award the bid today to the lowest and the most responsive bidder, which is Florida Utility Systems. Have us then negotiate a construction contract and bring it back to the board for final review and approval.
I'm really happy to hear that because Mitch's group has been stellar to work with.
Well, if you look at this, he's such an honorable guy.
Yes.
And his base bid, he didn't mark up anything for mobilization or,
Yeah.
you know, where the other company had substantial numbers in there for mobilization as part of his base bid of $229,000 just to show up.
Yeah.
And so I'm satisfied, and I've talked to you. Jared, are you on the line this morning? He had a conflict. He's your engineer.
There.
Did I properly state my understanding of the bid tab summary?
You did?
And in your opinion, this is a responsive bid, and there were no exceptions that Florida Utility Systems took?
No, there were no issues. They did decline to bid the base bid, which was the repair. And that's primarily because they understood that it was not really repairable. And if you actually look over to the Quality Enterprises bid, they bid the replacement or the repair at a rate higher than full replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is
Should
there
we just make a motion and vote on that?
motion to approve the bid as outlined and direct staff to bring back a construction agreement at a future date?
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm sorry, who made the second?
I did.
Okay. Final item that I have today are your financials that are
Hang
behind.
on 1 second. Ma'am, there's somebody online that has children with them. If you could hit your mute button on your, huh? Oh, the Truckee? Okay,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Truckee.
These are your July financials. I'll give you a little bit of an overview here as we're now into the fourth and final quarter of the year. At the end of July, the district had a combined $5,357,000 in cash. That is split between your general fund, $3,774,000, and your utility operating fund, $1,583,000. Additionally, the district has fixed assets, primarily your utility system, but also your roadway and drainage and street lighting systems that are an additional $7,841,000 net of depreciation. So combined assets on hand at the end of the month, $13.2 million. There were $122,000 in payables that were outstanding at the end of the month that are depicted on the liability portion of the balance sheet. On the next page, on the income statement.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
So you were showing that we've got about 95% collected up on it. Where's the other 5%?
Discounts that are taken by people who pay their taxes early.
So we're basically,
I've got the money that I'm going to get. I'm not going to get any additional assessment income
Okay,
in the final 2 months. It's all in.
okay, very good.
And a large number of people here do pay their taxes in November in order to get that big discount.
Right,
And so we budget for that, and so that's all in.
very good.
On the income statement, you'll also notice $50,000 in miscellaneous revenue. That is the cost that was negotiated with the South Florida Water Management District to use the district land for potential staging areas that would occur next spring as part of this manatee mitigation project that is on the back of Union Canal. So that's sort of found money. In addition, there was $13,200 in interest earnings during the course of the month. That is an increase as a result of your changing your bank relationships, and we piggyback off of the Board of County Commissioners comprehensive banking agreement. And so we've had substantially higher rates of interest the last 2 years, but 13,000 in 1 month is actually pretty good.
Thanks for getting that changed.
Yeah, on the other expense side, nothing really here other than certain commodities are pre-purchased at the beginning of the year. Insurance premiums are prepaid at the beginning of the year, so that'll all sort of levy out over the course of the year. Total year-to-date operating expenses are $8,600 below budget. Total, we haven't had any major capital projects in the general fund this year, so we're actually about $500,000 under budget in the general fund on the capital side. Total overall expenditures were $436,000 under budget year to date.
But we'll use up that $500,000 when we start fixing these pipes and whatnot.
Yeah. And so I'll stop there. The utility budget's a little more straightforward, but I'll see if you have any questions, and if not, you can entertain a motion to accept them. Motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept.
Dan seconded it? Dan seconded it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm done for today. Appreciate your patience.
Good morning, I have several items. First, as we expected the PrepMac trial to have been done this week, however, the judge got so sick he couldn't hold any trials, and so we've been pushed to the October trial docket. So none of the trials took place, but we are prepped and ready for that trial. And I was hoping to report that the trial had been completed, but I was not able to do so. Touched on briefly by Neil, South Florida reached out and confirmed that they don't think they'll start their project until April of next year. And so just as a general informational point, our agreement allows us to let marine contractors use that until they start. So, and we already had last meeting, you approved Calvin and Calvin to use it. So you can continue to use that site until we get the notice, which we expect in April.
Now,
So they still pay though?
They already paid.
but wasn't their contract for like a year and a half or something?
Yes.
So will they run over that?
Well, they can't until they come back to you. So,
Okay.
according to them, if you recall that meeting, they don't need a huge amount of time to actually do the work. And so my expectation is they're going to probably complete it over the summer next year based on that start date, but I don't want to guess.
Actually, that's probably good because a lot of the people are gone by then, so there won't be as big a disruption.
But I just wanted to put it out there that if there were marine contractors that needed to use it, we're able to do that up and through until we get that notice, which we expect in April.
Sure.
I sent around at the request the memorandum on the Ochapi Fire District, and if there's any questions, I'm available to discuss that, and if you wanted to pursue that further, we can talk about that as well. I don't know if you want to discuss that, or we can do that later.
You want to say something about the fire district?
I contacted the state representative. I went down to see the Pasadomo and Milo, and basically Pasadomo says she doesn't get involved with, she didn't say it, her staff said they don't get involved with local politics, because I'm trying to get our 4 mill rate spread over the whole county. I want to make us part of Greater Naples, or evidently North Naples.
North Collier.
North Collier showed some interest in
They did.
in us too, so, you know, we just need to get to be part of one of these other fire districts in order to lower our mill rate from 3 times as high as everybody else in the county's paying. Well, I shouldn't say that, they're so immocatably pays high, and so does Ave Maria. But, yeah, I don't know why we're guardians of the Everglades and have to pay them. We're 1% of the population of Cuyahoga County. You know?
That's why we don't have voting rights.
Yeah, I know, we don't have any, we got 700 voters between here and Everglades City. Everybody in Everglades City, they all have arrest records and they can't vote, so,
Anything else?
Yes, I received a reach out from, kind of a strange reach out from Greg Truxton not about the property, but he wanted to have a meeting with a county commissioner to talk about trying to acquire the Collier parcel.
Oh, the old hotel.
And I did not, he just copied me and said that I was gonna go to this meeting, I need your direction. And I assume one of you, if you wanted anyone there, I assume one of you would wanna go to this meeting. But I didn't want to respond until I asked this question.
you lost me.
The attorney for Lindsay Case, and Lindsay Case would like to meet with Commissioner LaCastro to just begin discussions about whether the county's parcel could be purchased at the old hotel site to incorporate into the Lindsay Case development project that is, as we know, not begun. And he just copied me on an email and said, I'll be there, and so is Zach, but I've never heard of this before, so I need direction.
He has outstanding bills with us?
Defaulted.
Here's the thing.
So why would we?
The odds of this happening are probably pretty slim because I would guess that we would be ahead of them in the process of getting that property before they sent it out to the general public.
So would you like me to just say I'm not gonna be there, or don't you want me to say that one of you will be there? The meeting is gonna be in November, he's already scheduled it, so it probably makes sense for one of you to be there, just so you can hear what is said.
Let's schedule it for one of us to be there, but I don't know who that would be.
Okay, I'll coordinate with you.
Okay.
You don't have a date?
I do have a date, it is, hold on,
And how close is that to our meeting?
November 14th.
What day of the week is that?
Of course, it's a Friday, 11 a.m., it's during the meeting,
It's during the meeting?
Yeah, so a simple response I can provide is that we're meeting at that time, so none of us can be there, please reschedule this. And then you guys can give me some availability, whoever wants to be there.
Very good.
So I will respond, request reschedule.
Well, 14th can't be our meeting.
No,
Oh, is it not?
No, can't be, because that's,
the 21st is
Oh,
already.
the 21st, okay. Well, so if you wanted to keep that, then I will coordinate with you, Steve.
okay.
Just to see what's said primarily, because I don't know. There was no indication in the emails that the commissioner had thought one way or the other.
Well, we've been talking to Neil here about seeing if we can't get that property from the county. Because I know when MI Homes was looking at purchasing that from Lindsay, they also wanted it. And I thought if we had it, we may be able to work that whole situation to our advantage.
Yeah, it makes sense in the overall development scheme.
Yeah.
And then finally, Steve, you did I provided you with Salvatore's analysis I got this morning. I have to read it and go through it, and then, but obviously you've retained Leo, so if there's any actions you want to take based on his advice, that's your call.
Why don't we look at it, then we'll tell us for next meeting.
You don't want to read it today?
I mean, I can summarize what he said.
Okay.
Do that.
I need to spend more than this meeting looking at it.
We understand.
So in the first point, Mr. Salvatore's opinion is that a specific performance action can be brought against Mr. Case. And what a specific performance action is it's not a damages action, it's to force him to do the things in the agreement. So it would be to force him to purchase the ERCs at the agreed upon amount.
And pay the assessments.
And to pay them once achieved. He doesn't get into, in this, I didn't see him getting into back damages. He just talks about you could use a court action to attempt to force him to pay the amount that he agreed to pay for the ERCs, and then you would transfer them to him.
And there's a 1-year statute of limitations on that.
Yes, and so that decision needs to be made in probably, you have essentially until we sent the notice, which I believe was in March, so we're still within the 1-year window, but.
But the sooner the better, because if we win this, we start getting the assessments.
Certainly. Well, these are, hold on, so the ERC assessments are no longer
Nobody has O and Ms.
deployed. The O and Ms, there are O and Ms on the parcel already. So I don't know that it changes your assessment
Well-
profile because he has O and Ms on the property. And you're doing a methodology change this year anyway. That was one of the items. And Mr. Wire was supposed to be at this meeting, but I understand he had a conflict.
Yeah.
So whenever that process starts, that's an independent analysis. So it's not going to change based on the utility modification, the ERC picture, but the reality is there's a substantial amount of money that he agreed to pay for the ERCs themselves. I think it's a $2 million number approximately, so it's not 1.6. It's not worth, it is worth doing something about, I would assume. Two, you asked him about, and this one I kind of wanted some clarification on the CID's ability to remove properties from assessment rolls, but no properties were talked about here, and what Leo's office says is they want more information. So I can help get them that information, or you can get them that information, but I don't know how to read what they've written because I don't necessarily understand that either of us understand what the question is here.
The question was, previous boards, especially when Cal was here, because that's what I remember, when it came to ERCs on the old hotel property, Lindsay Case's property, some other properties that the county owned, they said that they had removed the ERCs from those properties and put them into a pool. My question to the lawyer was, because it was my understanding, there's no provision for doing that in our rules of procedure, and it actually is against statutes, Florida statutes, and that's the question I asked him. And what he's coming back is saying, you're right.
Well, what he says is the CID's former board allegedly made undocumented unilateral decision to remove certain properties from its assessment rolls. No formal documentation was noted as to which properties have been assessed or the amount of said assessments. And then they say that they need further information. So I would suggest he hasn't answered this question yet, but if we're talking about the old hotel property in parcel 13, I can help provide additional information. So you can get an answer on that one.
All right.
The next one is CID not charging the county assessments. Essentially, the question is, can the assessments be levied against the county itself? And they answer essentially that it can. And then the final question is about tax ID numbers. If two parcels merge into one folio number, does it change the amount of assessments? And I certainly agree with your answer that no, it doesn't. That's a tax purpose for value and for the property appraiser's purposes. It's not changing the district's allocation.
And that goes back to the original question just before that, where the board gave exemptions for having a double lot or whatever. We, as a board, cannot give exemptions. And that's why I'm going back to that Lindsay Case thing where they said, well, you don't have to buy ERCs for 2 years and then it's a staged purchase. That was an offer that should not have been done. It's not legal, because what it's doing is it's shifting the burden from that particular piece of property to everybody else.
I'm going to disagree that it's not legal. These are property rights, and I think that there's a way to structure that deal the way it was done. And the question is whether maybe it was preferable or if there was another way to do it, but I'm not going to agree that it was not legal.
Okay, that's your opinion. That's fine.
Okay, that's my report.
Because what I'm looking at here is we've got about 25% of our ERCs in this place that were originally put on properties that were supposed to be assessing non-ad valorem taxes on. We took those 265 or 25% and put them into this fictitious pool, and basically we're not collecting anything on them. The way the system was set up, it was set up for 100% of our ERCs contributing to our budget. And then at some point, we decided we were going to just start taking these things off as we go. Our rules of procedures don't allow us to do that. And I'd like to see it changed back.
Investigate.
Oh, okay, so I got a question. We have, there's still some empty lots here. We have a new build going in January. What impact fee, how do we charge them to hook up to our facilities? So do we have an impact fee? Do we have to have a fixed impact fee, or do we have a fixed hookup? What?
We haven't in the past.
You haven't,
Yeah, but we didn't have to in the past, but now those are gone.
but you should.
Right.
And part of the scope of services, if we are able to retain Mr. Wire to do the update, is twofold, both to evaluate the O&M ERUs and changes or additions, and then second, to do the initial analysis to create an impact fee for water and wastewater for the community. He was not able to come today. He was anxious to see how the utility rate matter turned out. He's been in some other litigation that has been a distraction for him. And he had a son who passed away unexpectedly, and so he's been a little distracted. I have talked to him twice in the hopes that in the new year that he'd be willing to do that work.
I also had a phone conversation with him. I like the guy, and I think he's easy to work with. But here again, I think we've got about $500,000 worth a year in assessments that haven't been collected because we gave exemptions. We changed the rules. We shouldn't have been able to, but anyway, let's move on.
You're eligible to reimpose those, and the best examples that I have is the first year that we were here, we added the cell tower, we added the county marina and boat ship store and boat ramp, and we added those all back onto the roll, and so you have the ability to do that under the statute.
And we collected 109 O&Ms from parcel 13 last year, and my contention is there should be double that on there. Because that's what was originally on there.
And that can be evaluated in the assessment methodology. And I think part of the significance of shifting the base rate utility connection is that this removes this entire conversation about the transfer of ERCs as it impacts your revenue from the non-ad valorem standpoint, because you're going to be getting revenue based on.
We still have the O&Ms.
I know you still have the O&Ms, and that's, so well, the way I'm looking at this is you've made a substantial, and I would say modernized change to the utility system to go to use, and then you will be doing, you've already decided you're going to be redoing your assessment methodology that will, in that process, all of the O&M, all of this can be addressed, and it should be addressed. So that at the end of that process, when you adopt next year's budget, you will have a rate-based utility system that doesn't have all of these strange handoffs, and you will have a recently done and heavily vetted O&M system that should meet these standards, because these are the concerns you guys have been putting on the record for a while now, and you will be the ones shepherding this process.
I think that we should have a special meeting to deal with just this stuff. All those things that Salvatore Ruiz brought up, I think that because he's got some suggestions in there about how to remedy some of these things. Some of them aren't going to be very pleasant for a few people, but
Let me do this, let me see if I can get Russ Wire under contract, and then if so, then I'm more than happy to either carve out a separate workshop where we can review these sorts of things in advance of them getting underway.
right. But we need to get these ERCs back. Well, last meeting, our attorneys said that O&Ms were not supposed to be removed from properties along with the ERCs. And if that's the case that we're going to be using, then we need to go back to where all these O&Ms originated on these properties and put them back.
And the assessment methodology process is the method in which you will allocate these. And so
The problem with it is, we have almost no records going back to '92 when, to even tell us where that stuff started.
And I think my suggestion would be that thinking of it like a transactional, okay, there was X amount to start with and they keep moving around, let's put them back, is going to be extremely difficult to assemble based on records, as you pointed out. But that doesn't mean you can't evaluate the cost of the system and allocate it based on, that's what the process is supposed to be, is we look at the cost of the system and then we allocate it through the methodology. And not think of it in the transactional form of there are 5 credits and let's put the 5 credits over here. It's more like, how many credits do we need to pay for the system? And then how do we allocate them among the properties so that it's fair?
Well, how do you do that though, when you've got commercial properties that you're saying you couldn't switch your O&Ms over along with the other ERCs? And so you can't do it, but everybody before you could do it.
What's a new methodology?
No, what I'm saying is that there was a shift in the way that you all approach this. And you've already done two methodologies. This will be your third methodology. So you've already done this twice. This will be the third time. And you do it the way that is industry accepted, which is you will come up with the cost and you'll come up with the benefit.
Based on capacity.
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's move on. All right.
Anything else, Zach?
No.
Jared, are you still on the call?
I'm still here, but you and Mr. Truckee covered everything that I was going to.
Can you give us just a really quick update on the initial evaluation of the three lanes that are strapped to the US 41 bridge and when we might expect some further work on that?
Yes, we had our structural inspectors out there. They got in a boat, got around, took a look at each hangar, took photographs, and they're putting together a summary report now. Reaching out to a couple of contractors to get quotes on replacement as well as repair. And I expect to have that to you within 2 weeks from today.
Excellent.
Is the board prepared to move on that when we get that? You think we should get it going here now during the dry season?
Yes.
Kevin, you guys better do it. All right, all good.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
Thanks for carving out some time today too to participate by Zoom.
No problem.
There's no other old or new business, so that takes us down to supervisor requests. And I believe, Mr. Truckee, you had one in particular concerning the FEMA local mitigation group and a resolution or some action we need to take there.
That's correct. We work with the local mitigation strategies. It's a local grant system that works in the state, and we have to adopt their agreement for 2026. So Kevin, anything more? We had Kevin agreed to be on the board with the LMS. We were able to get a seat on the board there, and that's very nice too. So Kevin goes to those meetings all the time now. And anything you want to add to that, Kevin?
I would just add that they've just adopted a new strategy. Their last one was 2020, which we were part of. Now they have the new one, and they just require that our board adopts the strategy via resolution and board vote. So that's what we'd like to do today.
All right, so we.
Dan, are you going to make that motion?
I would like to make a motion that we adopt LMS new strategies for 2026.
We have a second?
I second it.
Any other discussion about it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I have a couple more here that I'd like to go through. Kevin Baird, you sent something out that had the Dodge construction business, and they were looking for information on the public bids. Is that something we can, maybe Neil can better answer that question. Do we have to do something to make that available to them?
I don't know what you're talking about. Could you repeat that?
It came in the email.
This is Jared. Yes, we got a request from Dodge Reports to get the bid tabulation for your raw water main, and I sent that to them.
Or you do it? Okay. All right, super. I just saw the email come through and I didn't know if we did anything with it or not. Okay, very good. The light pole agreement, I know, Neil, I talked to you a little bit about that with Orchid Cove. We were going to take a look at that agreement and see where we stood with that. Do you have any information on that, or?
Yeah, we were able to obtain in the records some type of agreement that was entered into between the former board and the Orchid Cove community. The agreement does not establish what the nature of the dispute was. However, the resolution at that time provided that the district would pay their private residential streetlight bill. And we are in the process of getting additional sub-metered or bills. I only get one bill a month from LCEC, and it can be $10,000 or $11,000 depending on the plant's consumption. We're trying to get the value of those streetlights segregated. My position is, not knowing the nature of the original dispute, it appears to me that the district has more than compensated Orchid Cove, and we should evaluate canceling that agreement for the reason that we've resolved the dispute that was in question. I have not yet seen that analysis, but my accounting staff is working on that with LCEC to segregate those streetlights that are on that one private street.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it went back to the CID at that time and overcharged them, I think for water, but I don't know for sure. But the streetlights over there, when they built the place, they wanted upgraded streetlights. You know, they got the fancy ones compared to this concrete poles that the rest of the community has. And streetlights, you pay by the light, by the month. And it's roughly like $15 a streetlight for the entire community, except Orchid Cove is like 3 times that, and they're $45. The CID has been paying that upcharge since that agreement was made to offset the overcharges. I think what he's saying now is he feels like we have met that obligation, and he wants to look at going back to.
I think the overcharges were, when they filled the pool and all that, we were charging them waste water charges, and
They
that
should be.
I know, but I mean, that's not how it worked last time. And then somehow everybody felt sorry for Orchid Cove and said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm pretty sure it was based on that. That's when they put the meter in. That's when that meter went on that pool that wasn't there before, so.
No, it wasn't, they were charging us for potable water instead of irrigation water.
Yeah.
And it was in hundreds of thousands of dollars that we had paid over 20 years that they were charging us for potable water.
The agreement says 45,000, but there's
Well, because there was
nothing
a,
behind that.
we could only go back so
Statute of
far. and
limitations.
that's why.
Well, actually, what it says in that agreement was that at that time, you were past the statute of limitations, so you wouldn't have been able to get it anyway.
So you can't do the right thing, you have to take it back, all right.
So I'm going to have some further information developed. The agreement will be 6 years old, and so we have been paying the streetlight bill for those private streetlights to the tune of about $417 a month, is what is in the summary here, for what will be the past soon to be 6 years. And I just think that we need to ask the board to reconsider terminating that agreement if they have been fully compensated for the dispute that goes back to 2020.
Well, let's see what it is.
Roughly $30,000 so far.
So maybe we still own it, maybe we don't.
If it was 45 and you paid 30, then there's a 15 differential, obviously, but if you dispute the base level, the base reasoning, then we need to have that discussion.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that's,
Hey, Neil.
we're involved.
Hey, Neil, it's Steve Gunther. I've got some more information. I've done a lot of research on this that I can give you that'll, if you want to talk about it, or we can take it offline.
I think if we aren't even close to it, we're only, what, 2/3 of the way there, right? It's been how many years?
5.5.
5.5,
It
6.
started in 20.
So another 2.5, 3 years before we break even. So, I mean, put it in the notes someplace. I mean,
I'm just trying to verify that it is in fact the value of that is $417. Originally, it was estimated at 417, but there was no backup
417 a
information
month?
behind that.
Yes,
Yeah.
417 a month, okay.
So that's in progress.
Okay, thanks.
So what do we want to do?
Let him finish his job.
Yeah, let me complete the accounting
Yeah.
part of that, and we'll come back with the recommendation.
Very good.
Anything else, Dan?
Neil, I was just going to say on that, the light poles, that has been going up over the years. It goes up every year, so make sure that you work with the current numbers when you look at that.
Understood.
Well, Dan, you'd have to figure out what's $45,000 was worth in 2020 versus now. You do all kinds.
A CID meter if they don't have their own building. That doesn't make sense. How do you run a CID government without your own building?
Excuse me, who are we talking to?
Well, I'm wondering, how are you running your CID government
Who are
without
we
your
talking
own
to?
community center building? Because as of right now, if anybody's going into the bathrooms, that is the association's bathrooms.
Can we move you? Okay, thank you. Ma'am, if you'll hold your comments, whatever they were, until we get to public comments at the end, I'd appreciate it. Any other supervisor requests? No.
I wanted to get something going, on decorum rules of procedures in here. We, right now, don't have any on the books. We need to get some, implemented on how the meeting is run and, there's,
Conduct.
yeah, we have been having some issues with, people feeling threatened, after the meeting and sometimes out in the parking lot. And the police are suggesting that we come up with rules and procedures so that would allow them to do their job. Frank Lee, spent a couple of days coming up with the whole thing, which is a heck of a good looking template to me. I would like to know how we go about putting that into our rules and procedures.
Yes, this is, so you just went through a rules of procedure process, it's the same process, so we will do a notice of intent to engage in rulemaking, finalize the draft. I added this to the task list. I will bring to the October meeting a draft of all of the notices and the rules so that you guys can start the process. And I have Mr. Lee's research and I appreciate the research.
Okay.
So just to confirm, I added this 41 on the task list.
Oh.
And I set it for October.
One other thing too, on this replacement for that water pipe that goes under the road, is that something we can get that low interest loan from that?
In order to start the SRF program, there's a preliminary analysis we have to do. I had offered several meetings ago to have a meeting with the department on this, and I believe it was decided instead that I think UC would reach out to them, but you're a member of Florida Rural Water Services. That's the person you need to start the conversation with. They can help generate the plan documents that have to be in place before you can start getting money from that program. And so my recommendation remains, there needs to be a conversation with them to see if you qualify for them to handle the preliminary analysis free. If not, you need to have the preliminary analysis done, and then you can start pulling on the SRF program. But based on what I heard earlier in the meeting and the volume of capital improvements you plan on making, I would strongly advise doing that initial analysis so you can be getting SRF loans, because more important than low interest rates, a lot of them come with massive forgiveness.
Yes.
More than 50% sometimes.
So,
So you can give him that information so he can go.
Yeah,
you know what, I'm not the right guy for that. I don't know, my plate's full.
I mean, Neil and I can talk for a role. I mean, you're already a member. It's just an email. I just need to understand what their benchmarks are for this particular community when it comes to doing the initial analysis.
Okay.
So I have no problem reaching out.
We need to start with the recently updated CIP.
Yes.
On the utility side in particular, and then we'll schedule a teleconference with the Tallahassee group to get some additional information. Zach also represents the city of Everglades, who's benefited from this. I've never borrowed this type of money before, and so let us do a little information gathering and then we'll come back. But we need to start with the CIP and what projects would be eligible.
So I put up on the task list, I will reach out with Neil to Florida Rural Water and come back to you with what they said about the initial analysis. So
Very good. Very good.
Because like I said, sometimes they just pay for it.
Okay, great. I don't know if we need to explain to people what we're doing here, but basically there's funding available through an SRF program that is very low interest, and a lot of times they forgive the loans or part of the loans, and so we'll look into getting that money rather than just going into our reserves. It would make way more sense, because whatever we get forgiven is free money.
It's an excellent and responsive program.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go through the task list now?
Please. Yeah.
So just starting at I've been crossing things through here, but going from the top down on things that haven't been completed or are in progress. The first one is number 8, evaluation of RFP for community security assessment. I don't know, Neil, what the status of that one is.
What number?
This is number 8. 1 through 7 are done.
That has been done. I think the deadline may be today.
Okay, it's done.
We have not had any interest. This is where, this came initially as a public petition. It involved some stolen fishing gear from some boats and concerns. We did a request for qualifications for security consultants to do a community analysis to evaluate cameras, kiosks, and that sort of thing. I think the deadline's today, but I will tell you what, if any, responses we get to that when I see you next month.
When the sheriff's officer was here 2 meetings ago, she said she was gonna compare crime statistics to the next community that's gated to ours, to give us a difference, just give us an idea of the difference. We never heard back.
I don't know, but I think she was the community policing officer for the district that we're in.
Right.
Let me just make a note and see if they can provide that before you start spending what could be hundreds of thousands of dollars on equipment.
Very good.
The next one on here, I haven't marked the little board memo as complete because maybe we can speak. I just want to make sure that the draft I provided was the direction you were looking for. So I'll follow up with you on that so we can get that done. 14, I guess, is moving to October, bringing Russ Wire to the meeting. We've been trying to get him since August, but that's on there.
So as a board, you should start thinking about what kind of questions you want to pose to Mr. Wire
Yes.
before he gets here. And in fact, we can even send him the questions beforehand to help him have some answers for us.
I think if you sent them before, it would be the best thing you can do because he can research them.
Yeah.
And as I skip over them, that means they're done. So the next one that's not done or it's in progress is 22, prepare RFQ for district legal services. Neil, I don't know if
That's done. The deadline is the end of the month for responses.
So I'll move that to October.
Yeah, the
Getting any back?
RFP notice has been, I got a call from one firm acknowledging receipt of our request.
The next one that is not completed is 29. Although actually this was completed just, I think, yesterday or today. Identify former water quality testing vendor for possible claim. That was identified, I believe, in an email yesterday. So that can be marked as done. And
Now, where are we going to go with that?
what my understanding is, the direction is we're going to send a demand letter based, if after I speak with your utility company, if we feel that there's a good claim that this was some sort of professional negligence, then we will send a demand letter along those lines because you had increased compliance cost as a result of it. So there's very identifiable damages. The question is, was the information you received provided to you in some sort of breach of contractor duty? So I have the information I need, and so I moved this, I think it shows up on your list as number 37, but I moved it to 30. Now that we have that, I will bring a demand letter to you for review on that if we determine that we think there's a claim there.
Okay.
Sometimes these testing entities or inspections have all kinds of disclaimers that say things like, we don't know if this is accurate, which is incredible to me.
I would actually think that Lindsay Case would be following on this. He had far more damage than we did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'd be very interested to see you do it. and it may cause them to follow along, so I don't know. The next one I see on here is at the last meeting, we talked about adding a utility insert for the backflow preventer with pictures into the billing and into the website. I think we were between billing cycles last time, so I'm not sure, Neil, if that's been done.
It has not been. We were working on an insert to provide the utility rates to all the customers in advance, and I actually need a little help from Mitch. This came up in conversation that maybe we should do a little public information piece about what a backflow preventer is, why it's important, and just, provide that information during the utility billing cycle so that people will understand it.
Okay. The next one on here that's not completed is the Lisa Blackledge meeting. She set a date over next week that I'm unavailable, but
Who's she again?
she's the county review. She's basically the planning manager for the site plan review, and this has to do with easement use agreements and making sure the county is approving the form correctly. So Annalise and I will be meeting with her presumably before the next board meeting, but that's out there.
Very good.
35, at least I'm going to see here, is that the same over here? No, it's not. 38, the Orchid Cove research. I believe that's what we talked about.
That's the streetlight issue.
Earlier today, so that we're still kind of pending the final accounting research there, but that's what you already talked about. The CDD franchise fee research is not complete yet, but it is on my list. I put it for October. The landscaping research is crossed out on here. I'm not sure if that means we're not doing it or it's completed.
No, we figured out what it was. This was, again, came up in the course of conversation last month. At one time, when I worked at the county, each county commissioner had their own taxing district for roads, and it was tied to the boundaries of the district that they were in. And the suggestion would be if we could reimpose those districts to pay for things like the US 41 median landscaping in lieu of just, the Port of the Islands people paying for that. But you would also then be paying for all of the other landscape median improvements that are in that commissioner's district. And so I need to do a little research, speak to the deputy county manager to see, are those districts still out there, but not currently being used? And if so, would they consider reimposing those for the type of example that I just mentioned?
Are we still talking to the county about the old hotel property? Or all the properties that they own?
The last conversation that we had with them was that they would entertain requests for proposals and would encourage one to come from this community, but that they fully intend to recoup the cost that they had in enforcement and demolition of the old hotel. And I was told offhand it was about $600,000.
So they had a bunch of money in legal fees?
Yeah, or unpaid code enforcement fines for former owners who I presume went bankrupt.
Well, the one caveat on that is if we're going to reinstate the assessments on that property, maybe we let them keep it. Because if we own it, we don't get anything. But that's a decision we can make.
Are they going to pay them? And then, we have to lien, our assessments are lienable.
Yeah.
And that needs to be part of some further, I think, just research. If we're going to slap them back with, O&M assessments on the old hotel site, we need to be prepared to see that all the way through to the end, even if it includes foreclosing on the lien.
Well, everything that I'm reading says if they're not using that property for the good of the community, which they're not, they're just holding that property, just like in Orchid Cove with that Lincoln and some of these other properties, they're just holding them, and we're getting nothing out of them.
There is case law, and I saw that in here, but I didn't see a set of case law in the Leo memo, but there is case law that suggests that when government holds vacant property, it is not taxed. It's different, if they developed it, like for example, the marina, if they're using it for commercial purposes, it's taxed. But I'd be more than happy to share that case with Mr. Salvatore.
So you disagree with him?
Tentatively, I need to, again, I got this morning, and I need to go back and look at that case again.
Okay.
But on that particular point.
Okay.
But there's also political things that we need to keep in mind about whether we're gonna go down that road.
But that might be the horse trading too when it comes to getting
Very-
properties and all other stuff.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think it's a very interesting tool. The next uncompleted or completed one, let's see here. I added some more based on listening today, so that completes the list. I did add the prep back trial itself. It took a substantial amount of time on our end, and I guess just to go a little bit further into that, we've additionally moved to dismiss for lack of subject matter jurisdiction, and now that the trial's been continued, we're going to try to have our motion to dismiss heard before trial, and if that's granted, then there will be no trial. The four things I added while we were talking here today, and then you can give me more, but I looked at the Salvatore memo. I see he's looking for some additional notices, so I'll provide those to him today. I added the rules of decorum rule change onto here with an October date. I am going to do a full review of the Leo memo with an October date. The assessment, sorry, that was already on here. And then I'm going to reach out to Florida Rural certain water services with Neil to try to specifically determine if you all qualify for the preliminary report that needs to be done before you can start tapping into the SRF program.
Very good.
And my suggestion, since this list is getting a little gangly, is that we basically turn this over on the quarters.
Yeah.
So October is the beginning of a new quarter for you, so I'm gonna
Delete them out.
condense this down and create a new one.
There you
That's
go.
the first 44 items. And if there's more, I'm here to take notes.
Well, I just wanted on 36, I know Chappie Research, I'm leaving the district, I mean, you're opening Greater Naples is gonna be 10 miles down the road. Is
Fire
there,
department.
Fire department, Greater Naples Fire Department, yeah, 10 miles down the road, they're gonna be spending $6 million on a new facility there. I mean, they're only 10 miles down the road, why can't we get in with Greater Naples Fire Department?
So it's not that you can't. It was attempted and it didn't happen. So the Greater Naples went to the legislature in 2021 and asked to annex in the entirety of Ochapi into Greater Naples, and it was not. The legislature did not approve it. And so
Even the Board of Supervisors.
No, the legislature.
What?
I'd like to comment on that if I can, because I did go to a couple of those meetings. The legislator, from what I've heard, the legislator did not approve that because Greater Naples didn't want to lose the money. They like the 3 times the amount that they're getting from everybody else. And if we get accepted into the Greater Naples district, we'll pay the same thing everyone else pays. Greater
Right,
Naples
that's
Fire
all.
District wasn't happy with that. They wanted the extra money, so they actually quit the negotiations with the state legislator. It wasn't the legislature that turned it down.
No, that is my understanding. But my point is, there's an uphill battle if the entity itself does not want its boundaries expanded and can show the revenue loss that it will create, then we will be in a battle with Greater Naples itself in the forum of this will be at the legislature. Like it's not that's who has to change their boundaries. In the same way, recently you went through this process with the mosquito control. It's that exact same process to change the boundaries. And right now they're getting your 4 mills, but also I attached the operating agreement to the memo. They're being paid over $1 million from the county, from the general revenue, to supplement fire service in Ochapi. And so part of what I suggested at the end of the memo was, if to go down this road, we have to do a good amount of financial analysis to figure out what does it really cost to provide fire service specifically to Port of the Islands. Because interestingly, your base ordinance allows you to provide fire service. Not that this is a business you want to get into, but it means that you could do a couple of things. You could step back from Ochapi and negotiate directly with Greater Naples. You could, I guess you could create your own fire department. You could also try to be annexed into it.
So everything that letter I sent out to them yesterday, everything in there was correct, right? About our option, well, if you read it, about what we were considering.
Yes,
So
these are all of these things can be in play. I think we just have to do there's gonna have to be some accounting analysis here. For example, Collier itself owns the fire station, so you don't own a fire station, you don't own trucks, and Greater doesn't own that fire station either. So there's some things that are gonna have to be worked through to figure out how you would do it. But at the end of the day, what the base level math is, and there's more to it than this, but the base level math is, you all pay 4 mills, which is higher than any fire district. However, per Greater Naples, that's not enough money to pay for fire service in the Oshapee Fire District. And so they get an additional $1 to $2 million from the county's general revenue fund, which actually means that the rest of the county is subsidizing the fire service here.
Plus they're getting 2 million from DOT too.
That's a different deal as to the 75 station.
Right, but it's still part of Oshapee.
There's a lot of money coming into Oshapee that is not coming from Oshapee.
Right.
And so to talk about leaving requires some math to be done on what would it cost to leave. It is frustrating to pay for, but one thing to look at is how much ad valorem could you generate at 4 mil across the whole district, and then how much does it cost to provide the fire service when it comes to buying the trucks and employing firefighters.
I understand we lost our ambulance.
No, the ambulance was here on a temporary basis because of impacts from recent hurricane activity that came or affected Everglades City. It's the same unit, but it was housed here temporarily.
So it went back.
It went back to where it is normally now.
Interestingly, so the EMS is provided through a different mechanism.
Of course.
And because if we made this simple, it would be too much. But Collier is providing EMS services not through Oshapee, but just directly. And this makes, for example, the fire station question complicated, because if they wanted to keep, they might want to keep it for the EMS side, but if they don't have the fire side. So there's a lot of moving parts here. Everglades had looked extensively at trying to leave, and they initially were not in it. They got added in the 90s. They had a volunteer fire department until the 90s. But the math didn't work for them. I don't know if it works for you, it might, but that's what we would need to look at, in my opinion.
They had a volunteer fire department then?
Until the 90s, and then there was, as I understand it, a fire that was not responded to well by the volunteer fire department, and they
couldn't get the truck started. I was county manager at the time.
And so the truck didn't start, the fire did what the fire does, and then immediately after that, they chose to join Oshapee because they didn't feel that this was a service they wanted to continue providing.
Okay, you done with the list?
I'm done.
So before we move on, do you have anything to tell us about landscaping?
No, so they'll cut down all the hedges around the community so it's easier to see for bicyclists and walkers. And other than that, you cut back all the hardwoods.
Okay.
And
How about over at the water treatment plant? Did he get, has he done the road and is he done the?
he started it and he's gonna finish it up Monday and Tuesday because it was real wet back there.
Very good.
He's already had his off with Mitch. So
What about you?
Waiting for Jared. I think that Jared and Kevin and I this week gonna walk around and look at our problem areas.
We're gonna start looking at redoing all of our water drainage.
Yeah, we'll look at the problem areas.
So
first.
we wanna try to get that ready for, as soon as it's dry enough, we wanna get moving on that. Any other?
Well, we talked last month about the mosquito equipment and chemicals going bad if we didn't do anything with them. Well, why don't we just sell all that equipment with the chemicals? Since we're not using them before, everything just goes locked up anyway.
You said you had to put that up for auction, right? How do we do that?
Facebook.
Next door.
Yeah, you would need to declare that as early as today as surplus property, and then there's a statute that outlines how we can dispose of it. Like at Lely Resort, where Kevin is the operations manager there, we have an auction every year. We're selling pickup trucks and lawnmowers and things of that nature, and so we would have to make it available and have some sort of either sealed bid or auction process in order to give. I have no idea what it's worth, but
Not much.
I would think it's nominal.
Okay. Anything else?
One question for Kevin. Kevin, on the median out there on 41, are we working towards dismantling that, or where are we at with that?
Now, the discussion there, Dan, was the one concerning trying to resurrect the old county commission road districts to make that and other medians in each commissioner's district paid for that way.
We would prefer to keep it if we can.
Okay, so we're waiting for that answer to come back.
Yeah,
Okay.
otherwise, the FDOT permit clearly puts the responsibility on the community for that.
Is it worth pointing, I mean, so if it were to go the route where the county chose to create these districts,
The county would be responsible for it, but indirectly you would be paying your proportionate share
Yes,
of
this would be
that
additional
and other
tax.
mediums throughout the county.
Very good. So are we down to,
just really quickly on the mosquito thing, did you want to declare that surplus property now, or did you want us to come back with like a proposal on the process at the next meeting?
Is this thing on skids? Is it like a truck, pickup truck?
wheels?
It's on,
Trailer.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't previously talked about that, but if you want to declare surplus, you need to do that by a motion in a second, and then we'll attempt to sell it. I would think if the chemicals are some sort of controlled substance and can only be applied by a licensed provider, then maybe we just make that available to the mosquito control district.
Okay.
Maybe then should we reach out to?
We'll need a
mosquito
vote
control first?
on that trailer, and I don't know if there's a serial number or something. I'll need that just for the.
Okay, I make a motion that we turn that trailer into a surplus property and move it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we'll see what the chemicals going, at least they can dispose of it if nothing
Yeah, I mean,
else.
if they can put the chemicals to use, then we'll make it available to them.
Okay.
Charity donation, right on,
There you go.
You genius.
$9,000.
Okay, we done with community comments?
Yeah. Final public comment?
So let's start with this lady that was online.
Still there?
If not, other public comment?
Okay.
I've got one online, Neil, when you're ready for it. Are you ready?
Hang on.
In regards, Kathy Oswald, Sunset K Lakes, in regards to EMS, I watched that building be built. My husband died in 2012, and EMS has been there from the very beginning of that station being built.
So why are they still there?
Why are they not still there? I mean, Mr. Durrell said that they brought them in because of surplus housing from after the hurricanes. Well, I know that they were here from the time that that building was built, because I had to call them 3 times to help me with my husband.
I'm sure we don't have any control over that, do we?
Not really. I'm just telling you what I was told.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
they've
thank you.
been here.
It seems to me that they were here when I was
Yes.
first here.
They've been here.
Anyone else?
Steve?
Steve?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I've done a lot of legwork on these Orchid Cove light poles, and just so we're all on the same page, I just figured I'd share it and get it on the record so that someone else doesn't have to do the same legwork. So first of all, there's 21 poles in Orchid Cove, light poles, that are decorative as labeled by LCEC, okay? 2 of them are on the Association of Orchid Coves electric bill. 19 are on the CID's bill. There is a monthly charge that's charged by LCEC that evidently they can charge whatever they want. For those 21 poles on my bill, I pay for 2 of them. There's a decorative pole charge of $29.71 and a light bulb charge of $14.17. And the average, I would say, electricity usage is about $6 for those lights. So that's times 21. I did talk to Mr. Truckee about it, and he would not share the county's bill with me. I tried to work with LCEC to figure out what the base rate for non-decorative poles are, and my best guesstimate would be $15 to $20. So there's your upcharge there, just so you know. As we go through this, as I understand it, the district is there to pay for the light bills all across Port of the Islands. So they'll still have to pay that the charge, but that upcharge is something that none of us are happy with. I pursued that with LCEC, saying, where did that charge come from? they claim that when you initially get what they call a security light or a street light, that you have to sign a 10-year contract that you will pay that bill for 10 years. So that was done in 2007 when those poles were initially installed. I don't know why they didn't use standard ones. I wasn't around at that time. But anyway, they don't have that agreement because it expired in 2017 and they don't have that contract anymore. So they basically charge whatever they want. So what I was trying to do is trying to get them to charge a more fair rate, because whether it's that light pole or the standard concrete ones, it just doesn't seem right. You should be paying such a premium for those poles. They said they wouldn't change it. I actually took it all the way up to the state and called the State Utility Commission, and basically they said they don't really have any way of changing that. So it appears that LCEC can charge whatever they want, whenever they want. I'm still not happy about the charge, and I will probably try to pursue it with the LCEC office when I get back in town. But I just wanted to give you that information as background. Hopefully that's helpful for everybody to understand. Thank you.
Steve, can you share that with me so I can get it into our records so that we don't lose that?
Well, that's why I thought it was on the recording. It could be part of the notes, but what I can share whatever you want, Steve. We can take it offline. You can call me. I can give you what I've gained.
I'd
None
just
of
like
us
to
are
get
happy
it.
about this upcharge.
Yeah, I'd just like to get it in our records so that we don't have to look at all this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
All right.
let me know how I can help with that. I'm happy to do
All right,
whatever.
thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
If there's none, your next meeting is October the 17th. And you can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Steve, this is Ramos, came out from you. I don't know if he wants to speak.
Hello?
Is there anyone online?
Hey,
Oh, there you are.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yes, we're asking to.
Okay, I just want to let everyone know I wear a cochlear implant. And when your videos are showing, the camera's moving side to side. And for a person that's hard of hearing, I depend on reading lips. So when the camera is moving, I'm not able to read a person's lips as a hard of hearing person. My question was, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. My question is, as a CID, I'm wondering how you're allowed to run your government when you do not have a building yourself, whereas you're going to be at the mercy of the hotel. You're going to be at the mercy of Orchid Clove. How do you run a government? How do you run your government without your own building? And
So
also, my second question is, how does a 300 square foot condominium, how is it equal to one of those multi-million-dollar homes that have 2 or 3 bathrooms, a kitchen, pools, and a boat slip? We're only 300 square feet, so the water cannot be the same. And is all boat slips, do they all have water meters on them? For the whole community, does every single boat slip have water meters on them?
It's just like the condos. They have 1 meter.
The answer
Condos
to
and
your
boats look the
question,
same.
there's really no requirement for special districts like ourselves to own their own facility. And in fact, of all the CBDs in Southwest Florida, I think that Gateway is the only one that owns a meeting facility. I have some clients who have maintenance buildings. They're not conducive to public meetings like this. So we're here today as the guests of the hotel. There's no charge. Frankly, the air conditioning and the acoustics here are a little better than what they are at Orchid Cove. And so for the foreseeable future, our meetings will be here where we are today. The second question pertained to what again?
Essentially, the question was a question about allocation of benefit to
Yeah, so Florida law, I think it's chapter 127, has the uniform method of assessment, and so you are correct. Whether we're dealing with a $400,000 condominium unit or a $4 million waterfront home, everyone here is paying the same flat rate of assessment, and that's true for CDDs statewide. The county does something very similar for garbage and landfill collection. They charge a flat rate per equivalent residential unit, and that's just the way that those non-ad valorem assessments are charged, but it's all governed by Florida law.
Also for her, isn't there a way that you can read transcripts on these meetings?
I made a note to see whether
Closed caption? Yeah.
whether we can incorporate closed captioning into.
But even now, I thought when I went back and rewatched one of our meetings, I was able to get closed caption on it, just by pushing a button.
I made a note, I'm going to talk to Dave
I
about
think
that
so.
right after.
Yeah, I thought we were ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, I
We'll
thought you
work
could
on
do
that for you, ma'am. Thank you for your input. If that's it, let's,
Meetings, I notice, for a person that's hard of hearing, you usually like put your hand over your mouth or your face, and that's pretty hard for us people that cannot hear as the cameras are moving along. So in other words, if somehow on the Zoom meetings where each person can have their face and like lined up instead of the camera moving in all different directions, that's pretty hard for someone
I appreciate your feedback.
that's trying to
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will review that. Thank you.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Nice to see you.